If you have an AI automation agency, how much money should you spend per month on ads? My name is Roman Peshke. I run a $13,000 a month AI automation agency. I'm going to be answering that question along with every other question in my comments. If you have a question about how to get started, how to grow, or how to scale your own AI automation agency, or just anything about life in general, you can leave a comment below any of these videos and I will answer them in the order they come in. So we have it right here. What would you recommend as the minimum daily budget per month for ads? Can you give some tips and advice for sales calls, what to do and what not to do? I have zero experience in sales, so the idea of doing a sales call is very daunting for me. So for a minimum daily budget, because Meta prices per day, like that's just how you set up the campaign budget, I would recommend starting off at least $20 a day just to see if the creatives you're putting out have any merit. That kind of gives it a little bit of wiggle room to get some testing done. But on a national scale, that is still going to take a little bit. Now, if that is daunting to you, like if you don't want to spend $600 a month on ads, then I would go check out yesterday's video where I covered the comparison between cold calls and ads. But $20 a day, so $600 a month, would give you some good wiggle room. I know before this guy Culver was talking about how he had $200 to spend total. So what you could do if you wanted to use that whole thing as a learning budget is set your campaign length to like a week and then launch all the campaigns you want to test, and that will constrict that total budget into that 7-day period, and you can get a better idea of what ads are performing and which ones to scale. Plus, you'll hopefully generate some leads off the back end of that. But if you're just starting out, I would go in with the expectation that that money will produce zero, and it's the cost you're paying to learn how to run ads. So recommend starting at $20 a day, then you scale up from there. I'd prefer like 30, 40, 50, even $100 a day. But if you don't have that kind of capital, that's what I would start with, is doing the weekly, setting it up for the week and letting it spend that way. Now, tips for sales calls, what to do and not to do. I prefer a consultative sales call, which means you're talking to the business owner, understanding what problems they're facing in the business, asking them about metrics around like gross revenue, profit, kind of what their biggest issue is, whether it's lead gen, turning those leads into appointments, which would be lead nurture, sales, fulfillment, retention, resells, and like upgraded levels of service, or hiring within their team, or hiring and building a team. And all of that, I'd say the best resource to point you towards is going to Alex Hormozi's YouTube and watching his sales content. Let's go Alex Hormozi sales. I think he has a 4-hour, here we go. Yeah. You watch Ultimate Sales Training for 2025. I would watch that, and then you'll get the most out of it if you just go into the arena and start applying that right away instead of trying to read a bunch of sales like manuals and all that sort of thing. You'll learn way more by trying to actually implement and just kind of like taking the plunge into the actual experience of it. You'll get way more out of that than you would just like continuing to read up on the subject or watching YouTube videos. Just don't get stuck in the loop of watching and consuming a bunch of content around it without actually doing it, because it'll be a night and day difference once you actually go to apply it. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the new outbound voice AI feature that Go High Level just launched. It's in beta, along with their marketplace of templates you can use, and why I think it is probably like the number one opportunity right this second if you want to get started selling voice AI or just AI to businesses in general. Sakshi with a new profile picture. All right. Do you need employees? Right now, no, I do not. I do not need any employees. On the consulting side of things, I do have 2 partners there. But as far as what I'm doing in the day-to-day, I have pretty much everything covered right now. But as I grow in scale, that will become a need for sure. Since cold calling and emailing is high ROI on money but low ROI on time, what's the first recommended automation tool or virtual assistant hire you would suggest to an agency owner to make their cold outreach scalable. Yeah, the first thing I would do is whip something up in either make.com or N8N that will go and do the scraping and data enrichment for you. So what that looks like is basically setting up a system that will take your big old lead list that you scrape from like Appify. So let me pull that up. Appify is a web scraping platform, so you can do a Google Maps scraper. Actually, it's right on here. Use this to get your desired lead type, that whatever industry you're going after, and then feed that into a system that will basically take that owner's information, their website, all that, scrape their websites and their socials, and basically give you a nice starting point so that you can go into that cold call well informed about that business. A couple things to look for would be, of course, their exact industry and services. I would pull a couple reviews, because if you can reference that at the start of a cold call, I've found it gets you your foot in the door a little bit better. Like, hey James, I just saw Jessica's review about how you guys do XYZ. Man, that's fantastic. And then you transition into the rest of your script, which could be something like, also wanted to let you know this is a cold call, but just if you just give me 30 seconds, you can tell me to screw off after that. Sound good? Basically, using that in combination with their reviews and then having some data about their business in general to just sound a little bit more intelligent, like you actually spent some time personalizing this reach out. That combination, I think, is the first thing I would do, because manually scraping all those websites and collecting all that information and putting together your own little report to do those sales calls takes a bunch of time, and it kind of sucks. And if you don't do that and you just skip that step, you are just losing out on an easy lift that you could be adding in to increase the likelihood of them booking an appointment with you to see what you're all about. So that's the first thing I would do. Then we got from Harrison Kelly. If I'm new to the space and my background is sales for 5 years, what would you recommend I prioritize with my time/learning? Any tips are appreciated. By the way, I think you have great energy and you come across as very authentic. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. First thing that I would learn if you're trying to get into the AI automation space is I would go find some issue in your life that you spend a lot of time on that could be automated, whether it's like responding to emails, right? Like one for me that I got started with was writing marketing emails. It was a big old time suck, and I figured that could be automated just because it's written text. And so what I did is I found some YouTube tutorials on how to set up AI generated emails. The one I copied was for a cold email campaign. I copied it exactly end to end so I could learn the tools, and then I tweaked it for my own use case, and I converted that into something that would scrape a YouTube video from a business YouTube account that I have access to. It would take that transcript and use that transcript to generate a marketing email in my tone of voice. And so that was like me dipping my toe into the water, solving a real problem that I have, and it allowed me to gain a bunch of experience with the actual tools and applying them into a business. That immediately gave me more confidence on sales conversations because I knew way more about what the tools were capable of. And then it just allowed me to speak more intelligently on sales calls. Now, for prioritization, I think the best way to go about this would be decide what you think you want to sell. So if, like, an example is if you want to sell a voice AI receptionist to a business, because that seems to be a booming industry right now, is I would go to something like retail or go high level and set up your very own little version of a voice AI receptionist, mess around with it and get it to work for you and like your use case, or at least like a demo bot. And then once you've done that and followed some YouTube tutorials on how to do that, you have gained a bunch of technical knowledge that is very specific to your use case. So it's not just like random general stuff, because you can absolutely get caught up in learning like every new thing that comes out, and then you end up not actually doing anything productive. So hyper focusing in on that, you learn the useful skills. It'll inform what you can say on a sales call, because you now know kind of like what the bounds of the tools are. And then you can immediately apply the 5 years of sales knowledge you have to start selling that to people without a bunch of wasted time in the middle. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop them on any of these videos. And for anyone else watching, if you have any questions at all, just drop them on these videos. Also have my school community, Make Money with AI. I will link it in the comments down below. Let me pull it up really quick. A shameless plug, if you will. And yeah, the school community is all about how to get a paying automation client. So day-by-day steps to go from 0 to 1 selling AI services to business. Pretty self-explanatory there. So let me track my daily subscriber growth like I do on these daily updates. 586, and then we'll jump into the new high-level update that I think is pretty fantastic for anyone looking to either get started or scale their AI agency. So Go High Level is having their summit today, I believe, and they are going over a bunch of new features. One of them that is coming out in beta is an outbound version of their AI voice receptionist. Now they use Retail and 11 Labs on the back end for their on-platform voice AI stuff. That means you don't have to spend a bunch of money on separate tools, and you can just use one thing to sell the CRM itself, appointments, lead follow-up, Google reviews, all that stuff is all included, plus the Retail voice AI system, plus the 11 Labs voices. It's just all in one house. So let me pull it up really quick, kind of show it off, and then I gotta get out of here because I have a call to hop on. So, and they also have a marketplace where you can just grab templates and get it started in like 2 minutes. So I'm just gonna show you really quick. Click create your first voice agent. And this is in a test account. You just browse marketplace. And this is inside High Level. If you want, I have a link in the description for a 14-day free trial. So if you want to get in, mess around with it, and cancel it before the 14 days if you don't make any sales, that's pretty killer. And then if you're looking for a high leverage thing to do, I think this is one of them right here. But you can see this template marketplace. Let's go with the AI that sells itself. I think this one's already installed. Yeah, it's already installed. So let's go back, installed agents, AI that sells itself. There we go, right here. I'm gonna throw in Romans Biz. Got Jessica, language, English, agent name. Let's call her Sam. Actually, we'll call her Jessica. Right here, you can give her a listen.
Hey, Worldly 11 Labs friends, let's...
I don't really like that, actually. Let's go high quality, female, and then...
I completely understand your concern.
Wrinkles should...
Hi, it's Chelsea. I know you just landed.
I completely understand your concern, and I...
So we'll go Bella B.
I completely...
And then let's check out the advanced settings here. Maximum call time, 10 minutes. Idle time, cool. Response speed, fast, like that. LLM temperature, 0, cool. Voice settings, I'm going to leave speed, temperature, volume the same, but I am going to add in some background noise. Just that way when there's a lull in the conversation, it isn't just dead silent. I think that sounds a little bit more realistic. I'm going to say, hey, my name is Jessica. I'm a demo voice assistant for Roman's business. What's your name? Click on save. Then we're going to hop into agent goals. This is where you can attach a knowledge base if you want it to have a bunch of context around you and your business. And then here is the prompt. So this is basically what the template's giving you. You're a voice AI agent named Jessica, conducting a live simulation, has the role right here. And then this is where you can just go in really quick, make any changes you want to make sure that this is contextual to what you are wanting to sell. Looks like this pre-made one goes into a role-playing script. There we go. Covers some skepticism. I'm just going to leave all that alone so you can see what it looks like right after the demo. And it looks like this one comes pre-built with a follow-up text. That way this will continue the conversation after they come in. Now, why is the new outbound feature cool? Because this also ties into the running ads thing that we were just talking about. This means you can run ads, have the opt-in finish with like either call this number, or you could have a lead form and then send out like an automatic text that says, want a demo of the bot, just call this number. Then when they call in, hang on, I'm talking about the inbound feature. So before, sorry, I got a little twisted with my words. Before, it would only handle inbound calls, which means if you did the setup I just talked about where you run ads and you send out an auto text afterwards, or you try to get them like lured in to call you first, that was all you had if you just used high level. Now you could patch together retail or VAPI or something else to handle outbound calls separately and then like run through some high level automations. But this way it's all under one roof, and you can use that same ad example. And once they submit their details, it will automatically do an outbound call to them. So you don't have to rely on the business owner calling you for the demo. This also means that when you're selling the service to other businesses, it can handle their inbound leads. So if you have like a teeth whitening business that you're working with as a client and their front desk lady is not calling the leads right when they come in, it's a huge missed opportunity because it's some ridiculous statistic. Like I think it's 291% drop off if you don't get to the lead within like 5 minutes. Let me look it up really quick. So 5-minute lead stat. Businesses are 21 times more likely to convert a lead into an opportunity if they contact within the first 5 minutes. And it's even more crazy if you do it within like 30 seconds. And this is what you get enabled to do by just using this like pre-built system. It's ridiculous. So anyways, if you're running ads, like the guy was talking about before, you got your daily budget set, people are clicking, opting in for your demo, then they will get an outbound call using a bot that you set up in 2 minutes, and it'll sound like this.
Hey there, my name is Jessica. I am a demo voice assistant for Roman's business. What is your name?
My name's Roman.
Hi, Roman. Thanks for taking the time to chat. I'm here to show you how I could work as a customized AI assistant for your business. To start, could you tell me a bit about your business? For example, what industry you're in and the types of customers you typically serve?
Yeah, I have a teeth whitening dental practice, and we serve everyone pretty much, usually like adults that are coming in, both men and women.
Got it. So, a teeth whitening dental practice serving a mix of adult clients. Thanks for sharing that. What kind of customer interactions do you handle most often? For example, is it booking appointments, answering questions about services, or maybe handling follow-ups?
Mostly booking appointments. That's our biggest issue
All
right
right,
now.
Got it. So, streamlining appointment bookings is a top priority for you. Makes sense. Having an efficient system for that can really make a difference. Would you like me to focus on demonstrating how I'd handle appointment scheduling during the role play? Or are there other challenges you'd like me to address as well?
Let's just stick with appointment scheduling.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying. Let's jump into the role play now, and I'll show you how I'd handle appointment scheduling for your practice. Starting role play.
All right, I'm
Hello,
muting
and
it. I
thank you
really
for
hope you guys
calling
can hear
Roman's
this.
Teeth Whitening. This is your voice AI assistant. How can I help you today? Now, feel free to play the role of a customer and I'll respond.
Yeah, I was looking to come in and get my teeth whitened.
I'd be happy to help with that. Do you have a specific date and time in mind? Or would you like me to check what's available?
You free today?
Let me check. All right, we've got availability this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. or 5 p.m. Would either of those work for you?
5 works.
Great. I'll book you for today at 5 p.m. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
No, that's it.
All right, your appointment is all set for today at 5 p.m. Thanks for choosing Roman's Teeth Whitening. Have a great day. That wraps up the role play. How did that feel to you?
Felt
Did it
great.
match what you're looking for?
No, it felt great.
I'm so glad to hear that. It sounds like this could really help streamline your appointment process and save you time. Would you like me to share how implementing a voice AI assistant like this could benefit your practice even further?
Sure.
All right, here's how a voice AI assistant like me could make a big impact on your practice. 1. Time savings. Automating appointment bookings means your team
All
can
right.
focus.
Cool, we're done with that. Anyway, so that is fresh out of the box, no custom work at all. There are a bunch of tweaks I would do to that. Like, I don't like how it's asking, like the sales process is super sloppy because like, oh, when do you want to come in? I would just immediately change it to suggest 2 times based on the calendar. And like the sales flow in general isn't great, but that's what you get fresh out of the box. And then you can go make your tweaks right away. And then you can go sell it. And also, if you are niched down and you followed my niche guide inside the school community, then you'll know a lot more about the target avatar that you're reaching out to, which means that you can customize that demo bot to be super specific to their use cases. So you can save some time on that setup. Setup meaning like that initial part of the conversation. And you can just jump into the part that is actually going to be valuable for the business owner. So you can say, like what I would do is I would have it say, hey, time for the demo, blah, blah, blah. Typically, teeth whitening businesses want XYZ done. Does that sound right? Or would you like me to do something different? So I'd have that preloaded in there instead of like starting completely from scratch. So if you're confused on how to pick a niche inside the school community, it's called How to Pick a Money Niche. You just grab it here and it'll take you through the full like scoring criteria, how to do all that, how to validate it, and all that good stuff. But yeah, and then also the other thing I would do is speed up the talking speed because that was gruelingly slow. But if you noticed in the voice settings over here in the agent details, advanced settings, and then we go to, there we go, voice speed. That was just 1x. I would just play around with the voice speed there so that it sounds more natural and less drawn out like that, just because it's a little bit uncomfortable. But anyways, that's it for today. Probably going to drop a main YouTube channel video on it, so keep an eye out for that. And I'll see you lovely folks